welcome. This is the Continental Lodging Investment Conversation and Connection, or as we like to call it, CLIC Connect. So I know that's a mouthful. That's why we use CLIC Connect. And guess what? This is going to be our last show for 2025. We got a first-time guest, and you know how much I love having a first-time guest on. But before we bring out our guest, I would like to thank our advertising partner, Chicago Title, National Commercial Services, their hospitality group who can help you coast to coast, not just in the major markets, but everywhere. Give our good friend Ryan Huntsman a phone call, would you? You can reach him at 949-724-3129. That is a direct line to him. Let him know that Dr. Producer and Director Suzanne and I sent you. They would love to hear from you. They can help you get your businesses going and done deals on time. So please give Ryan a call. There's their website as well. And they're great. That's all I can say. So thank you. A former boss of mine, a very good human by the name of Larry Broughton, got me and our guest together. And his name is Mike Clapper. He is the founder and CEO of Able2 Global. And we had a conversation, and probably within milliseconds, I'm going, we got to have him on the show. And finally, the opportunity came up. And lo and behold, here is Mike Clapper. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Craig. What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm great. It's good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Just awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
Getting ready for the holidays?
I am. It's the craziest time of year, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But, holiday season for me kicks off on October 31st. I love Halloween. Okay.
Gotcha.
Used to do big costume parties over on Maui and have guests. And it started out with 5 people. And the last time I threw that party, we had 50 people. And I felt like I was either scuba diving or cooking the whole time. So it kind of went, okay, this is enough. I'm not relaxing anymore. But I love the holiday season. I just love it.
Same here. We're all decked up for Christmas, and it's like, you're right. As soon as you hit that October 31st, Halloween's over. I don't know about you and your family, but my wife puts up all the Christmas stuff. I'm like, what about Thanksgiving? Oh, that's coming too. But so yeah, we love the holidays as well.
And it's funny. Starting September 1st in the Philippines, you're hearing Christmas music and the decorations are up all the way through the end of the year. Now, sometimes I walk into a store and I'm going, okay, you're a little early, but September, I don't know if I can deal with that. So
no, we're just coming out of summer. Like that would be odd.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, would you do me a huge favor and please tell the audience about yourself, your company, and what you do, please?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Mike Clapper, obviously, founder and CEO of Able2 Global. And what we do is we turn accessibility from a compliance checkbox into a competitive advantage. And in addition to that, I also host my own podcast, the Inclusioneeer Lab, which I'm really excited about. We talk about the intersection of hospitality, guest experience, and innovation, things like AI and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a whole lot of fun. So I split my time between helping clients and talking about fun stuff. I can't ask for much, more than that. So
I love it. Now, your journey to Able2 Global and your podcast, I think, is started off rather uniquely, and I think it was on a cruise ship. Would you tell the audience about that, please?
Yeah, love to. So it's funny. You go through these crises in life. I'd hate to call it a midlife crisis, but my wife and I went on a cruise for my 40th birthday, and I was trying to figure out, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? What's going on? So we had this amazing cruise. It was 16 days long, and we finished the cruise in Reykjavik, Iceland. And it was a cruise where you get off for the day, you explore Reykjavik, You get back on, have this huge party, and then everyone gets off the next day. And so you were forced to get off the ship. And so we got our stuff together. We had some stuff planned to do, and we went to get off the ship, and the gangway was too narrow for my wheelchair. And so I was stuck. And not only that, but there were spikes all the way down this gangway, probably because of snow and things like that. It was in July, so it was actually nice and mild. And so I looked around, and I was like, okay, now what? And all the crew kind of looked around, and they kind of said, okay, now what? And they had some crazy ideas. We'll get a forklift. We'll, lift you in your chair.
Oh.
Gonna work. That's not going to work. But in that moment, I realized the problem wasn't empathy; it was execution. Everyone cared. Everyone wanted to make it right. They just didn't know how. And so, as I said, I was kind of in this midlife crisis. I spent 20 years in the medical device industry, about 20 years in the medical device industry, trying to find my next gig. And it came to me. I can make a real difference in travel. And so I literally sat there. My wife and I were the only two on board the entire ship that day, and wrote a business plan for Able2 Global. At least the conceptual idea of how I help hospitality brands with accessibility. So that's how it all started.
I love it. I mean, that, obviously the crew was trying to do everything they could.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was a case of a circumstance that in the long run, you found a positive and you were able to help so that the next person in line didn't have to go through that. And I commend you on that. And it's, you want everybody to be included. There's nothing worse than somebody who's invisible,
right?
Or, and I spent a good part of my early life being invisible, and it's never any fun. And I think that probably, when I see somebody having an issue, it's like a neighbor who, is having a problem getting across the street or carrying too many groceries or something,
Mm-hmm.
It's just not right. I mean, to make it, simple, to simplify it. But you have an overview for inclusionary framework, design that includes hospitality, that elevates,
Mm-hmm.
systems that scale.
Yeah.
Would you tell the audience about this, please?
Yeah. So, it's one thing to say I'm going to be a consultant, but I quickly realized I needed a framework to kind of, provide the backbone to what I was providing. And I realized that there were really three key areas that were missing when it came to hospitality as it relates to, yes, people with disabilities, but the entire population in general. And that's where I came up with those three pillars. So the first is as you mentioned, design that includes. And that just really means designing with everybody in mind. I've done a deep dive the last couple of years into universal design. We don't need to make this look clinical and sterile. We can design elements that look beautiful and functional for everybody. And it doesn't just work for people with disabilities. It works for moms with strollers, in a hotel, the guys that are carrying the luggage around, all those kind of things. And you can design spaces that are functional and beautiful at the same time. So that's the first kind of key component. Then I realized, okay, you can have the best design possible, but if you don't have excellent hospitality, if your staff isn't trained well, you're in trouble. Yeah. So you can have all the best facilities in the world, but if your staff doesn't know what to do with a particular situation, you're in trouble. And that's kind of what I found out on that cruise ship. Right. Was they just didn't know what to do. And they were giving me a deer in the headlights look. And so there's a training component to this too, right? How do we handle this? How do we talk to people with disabilities or differences? What can we expect when they get there? What kind of questions are they going to have? It's more than just, is this room or is this cabin accessible? There are specific needs that people with disabilities have. And most of the time the staff isn't well equipped to talk about these questions, and so that makes them feel uncomfortable, which makes me feel uncomfortable, and it just kind of spirals out of control. And the last point is okay. So you've got a design, you've got training, you've got staff, but if there's no system in place, you're in trouble because it only goes so far, right? And so the third thing I do with my clients is we build a system, and we look at technology, we look at SOPs, and we make sure that those things are used and not stuck on a bookshelf someplace or on a hard drive somewhere that's never used. I think this is a daily thing that needs to take place. And if you put together a simple system that works, everyone's going to want to use it.
I agree. And I think these are logical enhancements to ADA in particular. I mean, it's far more than putting a lift in for the pool or the jacuzzi. Okay. It's far more than seamless shower areas or wet bathrooms.
Right.
You know, your team on site, whether it's a cruise ship or a hotel or a restaurant, retail shopping, all of the above, entertainment, sports entertainment venues, all need this. And these are all venues that should be including all of us. So, how has the response been with the hotel community in particular?
Largely positive. What I've had to do is prove the business case for this. I think that for so long, whether it's hospitality or accessibility consultants or advocates, things of that nature, they're coming at this from a compliance standpoint, from an ADA standpoint, from a I'm going to sue you kind of thing standpoint. Yeah. What people in the industry don't realize is that there's a huge untapped market that's about $100 billion a year just in the United States that nobody's tapping into. And that's just an organic market. I like to stress that with my clients because it's not like I'm saying I can bring you $100 billion market. No, it's already there. But I'll just throw another crazy stat out there. There was a recent study done. 96% of guests in wheelchairs felt like their needs weren't met at hotels.
Really?
Yeah. Can you imagine any other segment where, your satisfaction rate, let's call it 4%, and you're still getting by. So that's one of the things that that I'm having to talk to my clients about is, look, let's put aside all your preconceptions. Let's put aside any feelings of negativity or feelings of we should have done better. That's okay. Let's start from scratch and let's work on a system that works for everybody.
I like that. And, I would think that the brands would be embracing this right now. Besides, I'm going to say post-COVID, and it should have been prior, but it probably didn't happen prior to COVID. And are you able to talk to the owners and operators and brands, and are you having those light bulb moments with them where they're going, oh yeah, we can do this?
Yeah, especially in the independent or boutique industry who are trying to compete with the big boys like the Hiltons, the Hyatts, and the Marriotts.
Yeah,
they understand this competitive advantage component that I spoke about earlier. Well, it's like, gee, if I implement these changes, I could go after this market that maybe the big boys are missing out on or not catering to, I should say. And so I'm finding a lot of success with kind of the independent hotels, the boutique hotels. I'm also finding allies in the design space, which I didn't think going in was going to be a thing. I'm talking to designers that are like, not only is this great, in terms of a universal design component or a design aspect, but it's a fun challenge. It's a unique way of designing unique properties and unique experiences that maybe we have never thought about before. And so that's been really fun to kind of have those conversations with them, reviewing plans, looking at, hey, how can we make this accessible for everybody? How can we tweak the layout just a little bit to make it more functional for not just people with disabilities, but everybody.
Everybody. Yeah. Excuse me. I think the designers and architects, okay, no brainer. I think, you've got certain firms like AO here in Orange County, California. They've got separate practices all under the same roof, but the guys that do retail. People that do offices. The hospitality people do hotels and restaurants and that type. Sports entertainment, it's another one. Now, every now and again, you'll have all of these merge at once. And I like to refer to it, and my buddy Jim Butler coined this phrase, hotel enhanced mixed use development. So you've got a hotel, you've got a residence, you've got office space. Now, if you attach that to a sports arena, I think that's a home run. And you see that, San Francisco, Chicago, vertical markets, okay, or across the street, okay. So I think approaching the design, and the architectural side is just a common sense thing, and they'd be very open to it, because I think you find both designers and architects on the hotel side, they love the creativity. They love to get in the middle of it.
Yes.
And some of the best architects that I've worked with, they are still doodling. They're coming up with a sketch on that cocktail napkin when you're having a beer or a lunch or something. So I think that's a good part of your business right there. Now, how Able2 Global specifies accessibility with a clear and practical starting point. Can you tell the audience about that, please?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we talk about a clear, practical starting point, most people think of ADA compliance, and to me, that's just the floor, right? So ADA compliance is just the floor. When we come in, we work with clients. All of our work is, of course, going to be ADA compliant, but we talk about how we can plus that. One of my heroes of all time is Walt Disney, and one of his phrases was plussing it. How do I plus things? And that's kind of the tip of a hat to my my podcast, the Inclusioneeer Lab, with his Imagineers back in the day. And so that's really what I'm looking to do is come in and how do we plus your experiences? How do we make this unique and wonderful and fun and enjoyable for everybody? So I look at ADA compliance as the floor. We're going to make sure you're ADA compliant, because back to the designers for just a moment. When I speak to designers, they're like, "Oh yeah, we ran an ADA compliance check on this." And it's like, that's not what I'm talking about. That's great that you did that, but that's not exactly what I'm talking about. So that's where I start. How can we plus the experience?
I love that, and I think that's the right way to approach it. How can we plus the experience? I love that. I may have to send you a copyright royalty check. I think I'm going to use that one quite a bit.
I'll take the royalty checks. No worries. We're good. We're good.
Hey, mailbox money is good.
Absolutely.
Well, my friend, it's time for our 2-minute lightning round. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Dr. Producer, Director Suzanne is going to put 2 minutes on the clock. Word association, first thing that pops into your head, starting now. Transportation.
Difficult.
Hotels.
Minimal.
Theme parks.
Fun.
Social media.
Overrated.
Aisle or window?
Window, for sure.
Favorite airline?
Delta.
Reward points?
Hilton.
Nice. Favorite musical solo artist, duo, group, or band?
Oof, that is a tough one. I'm gonna go with right now. Gosh, Skillet is a band that I'm listening to a lot right now.
Nice. Favorite restaurant in your fair city?
Ooh, there's so many great places here in the Richmond, Virginia area. Basically anywhere downtown where you can get into those old, 19th century buildings. This is fun.
Nice. Best vacation location, hotel or resort?
Well, I'm a Disney guy. I just said that a second ago. But really quick, I got to say, I want to hear more about your trips to Maui because I love Maui as well. So
Nice. All right, my friend, you did that with 32 seconds left. Congratulations.
boom.
Don't win anything, but you do get a round of applause. So
I'll take it.
Mike, let's talk about your podcast before we get to your shameless plug. Would you tell us all about that?
Yeah. So, like I said, it's just a means of me being able to talk about the things I love. And it's one thing to do this with clients every day. It's another thing to have fun with it. And you know that being a podcast host,
Yeah.
I get to talk to some really interesting people who have really interesting ideas. And this is one thing I want to stress is this is not an accessibility podcast.
Right.
This is a hospitality podcast first. This is an innovation podcast first. Just released my first episode with a guest from the Netherlands. He was actually in Greece at the time. And so it's just fun to be able to talk to people worldwide. And I bring the inclusion aspect to it, but I want to hear from everybody else on what's happening in the hospitality world.
Absolutely. Well, I'll share some names for some people for you to try and get on your show, and use my name, and I'll reach out to them as well. So
That sounds wonderful.
We're just about out of time here, Mike. So I want to wrap this up with a shameless plug. How can people get a hold of you and pursue your services and get on your show as well?
Yeah, it's really funny. You said social media and I said overrated, but I'm all over social media. So you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Inclusioneeer Lab on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. And I'm sure you can put links in the comments for that.
Yeah.
And of course, go to my website, able2global.com, just as it's on the screen there. But if you're listening, it's able2global.com. Learn more about me. There's a button to connect with me directly, and would love to talk to anybody at this point who's looking for that competitive advantage.
Absolutely. Mike, it's been an absolute pleasure. You've got an open invitation to come back anytime you want. Okay.
I can't wait. I'm so honored that this is the last podcast of 2025.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just awesome that I get to close out the year with you. So thanks so much for having me.
Appreciate you being here, and tell our good friend Larry that I said aloha.
I will, for sure. Absolutely.
Mike, you take care.
Likewise.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. That's it. That's the last show for 2025. I can't believe it. It has just blown by. I want to thank Dr. Producer and Director Suzanne. She took over the show this year and is bringing out the best of our guests and me. And God knows she needs to dig deep to pull a lot out of me. So
it's fun to be a part of celebrating with you in getting to this milestone. So kudos to you, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, we're going to take a little time off. We will be back. We're going to have just a little holiday thank you video that'll be out later before the end of the year, before Christmas. But, I want to thank all of you that have subscribed and followed us on LinkedIn and YouTube in particular. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. It's been quite the journey for this 11th season. We're just about at the halfway mark, and we'll be back after the holidays in January, but before the Super Bowl, so in February, so you can catch us. And we've got some great guests coming up in the future as well. And, have yourselves a great holiday season. Thank you all very much. And as I'm fond of saying, be kind, share your knowledge, go be amazing.